Welcome to Simply Happy Conversations. I'm Narelle King, wellness and organisational coach and Yin and Nidra yoga instructor. This podcast will help you create more time using organisational strategies so that you can start to simplify your life and prioritise your health. I'll be sharing conversations with other health and organisational experts and solo episodes with tips to help you simplify your life and prioritise your health. Hi, and welcome to Simply Happy Conversations. I'm Narelle King, and in this Simply Happy Conversation, I'm talking with Beth, a meditation teacher for Geelong Meditation Centre. Beth shares her journey from a primary school teacher to meditation teacher. We also discuss the benefits of meditation, how to implement a meditation when you're just starting out, and ways to be kinder to yourself and develop self-compassion. This interview is a video recording that you can also watch on YouTube. Let's jump into this Simply Happy guest conversation. So today on Simply Happy Conversations, I have Beth from Geelong Meditation Centre. She is a meditation teacher and is here to help us create meditation in an easy way so everyone can access it. So welcome, Beth.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Narelle.
Oh, it's so lovely to have you and be able to share your wisdom today. Maybe let's start with what you like to do in your free time.
Yeah, it's funny that question because I feel so fortunate to have a job that I love now. That free time, my life doesn't feel like I'm squeezing in free time anymore, whereas it used to. But I do like to, outside of work and family, I love to play the piano, and I'm a bit of a secret songwriter.
Oh, wow.
And when I say secret, really secret, like it's just in my house.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that sometimes comes and has a jam with me. But that's, one of the joys of my free time, that I get to do that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Would you do it at least once a week?
Oh, I do it most days, I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even if it's just for a few minutes, just to have a little bit of a sing and a tinkle on the piano, but it's all a bit sort of freestyly. And I've realized it in a sense, it was like one of my first ways of meditating. It was a kind of way to tune into my inner life and my emotions and feelings, and a way of expressing myself. So it's still with me now.
Oh, that's beautiful. What about your children? Do they tinker on the piano as well?
My daughter is having piano lessons, and she does. And when she was little and we were home a lot, we'd make up songs together. So that was pretty cute.
Oh, cute.
My son is learning guitar.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's my daughter. She's learning guitar as well. Yeah, it's funny hearing her down in the room having a little bit of a strum now and then. Not as often as you'd maybe expect, but it's just now and then. It's like not every day. It's just random times when she'll pick it up and quietly be up there playing it, which is so lovely to hear. Yeah, such a beautiful thing to have in your life as a calming and a meditation practice, isn't it? Music, it's so calming for our nervous system.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So then tell us about how you became a meditation teacher and where you came from before meditation.
Well, I've had a bit of a varied career, Narelle. I did a drama degree, which is something people don't know. Many people know about me. And then I sort of stumbled into working in a new TV company, and it ran out of money, and then I ended up traveling. And after kind of toing and froing through various jobs, I ended up working at an orphanage, volunteering at an orphanage in Bulgaria. And I loved working with the kids. And what I realized was, if I want to work with people, at that time it was more about working with young people, teaching would be a good profession to get into. So I trained as a primary school teacher and did that for a while. At the same time, though, I experienced a couple of miscarriages in a row, and I really struggled emotionally. I was really struggling, and I was looking for ways to cope with the grief of that, as well as being a new teacher with a really difficult class. This is in inner city London, so I had over 30 kids in that classroom, and it was pretty intense. And I know you've been a teacher, so you'll understand the
and in London
of
as well.
teaching. Yes. And so I actually, one of the parents of the children had she was a psychologist, and she shared with me a book about meditation for children. And I started using these techniques with the kids in the classroom, and obviously myself as I was guiding them, and realized that it really did make a difference. And some of this was quite playful, doing kind of Kim's game, the Kim's game, memory game, things like that just helped them focus. So it's more about focus and then guided relaxation, and just found that it helped to rebalance the energy in the room, and also helped me as a teacher. And at the same time, I kind of rediscovered yoga. And obviously, as you know, there are meditative aspects of yoga. So it's kind of where my practice really got kick-started. A little bit later on, we moved over to Australia, and I had tiny children. And I found myself reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a very well-known book.
Great book, yeah.
And it inspired me to just do a little bit more training in meditation. So I did a course with Melbourne Meditation Centre, obviously based in Melbourne. And it was such a beautiful, open, anything goes, make your practice your own approach to meditation. So different from some of the other things that I'd listened to and read, that it really worked for me. I just loved it. And then one night I was meditating, and I had this kind of epiphany, I guess, or a voice that just told me that I needed to teach it, because I realized how much it had helped me over the years, and particularly this approach, which was really aligning to my temperament and my needs and my creative spirit. So then I trained with Matthew Young at Melbourne Meditation Centre. And he very generously offered for me, we then moved to Geelong, and he offered for me to take on some courses for his business down here. And then over time, it sort of just became my business, Geelong Meditation Centre. And having that affiliation with Melbourne Meditation Centre has been so wonderful. I've learned so much from Matt, and and this is my 6th year here running meditation. Yeah.
And that's actually how I found you when I did one of my yoga teacher trainings. I said, I'd really like to do a little bit more meditation. And someone recommended Melbourne Meditation Centre. And then that's how I actually found you in Geelong. So, so it does work. That affiliation with them is, that connection. So then share with us, which one do you prefer working with then, adults or children?
Oh, adults. It's funny, you kind of, I say you, I mean me. I had an idea of how I could sort of transition into a different aspect of my work, so teaching meditation, but I assumed that it would be with children because that was all I'd known as a teacher. But then as Matt offered me this work, it was with adults, and although I was a little anxious about that, I just love it. I'm not sure I could work with kids again.
Back in the classroom. But to be honest, I know when I do work in the classroom and the way that schools are structured now, there is that mindfulness before when they come in. It might be a meditation, it might be a guided meditation, it might be just music that they're sitting or colouring. But having that, I actually really enjoy that as a way of calming myself before you even move into teaching. Not that I teach that often anymore, but when I do go into the classroom, I think it's a great thing that they've incorporated into classes, whereas you were probably before your time of having that in your classroom before it's become sort of cool and the thing to do here in Australia now.
Yeah, I was just doing it out of necessity, really. Yeah. But you're right, that transition time is so important, and for adults too. So hopefully kids that are accessing this at this stage, it will just become second nature.
Oh, definitely.
Give themselves that time to shift from one thing to another.
For sure. I think Smiling Minds has had a massive influence on that here in Australia, which is a great thing for our kids to grow up with it rather than be introduced to it later in life as a strategy. It's just naturally something they'll be, able to do. So tell us then the benefits of meditation.
Gosh, there's so
many.
There's so many.
What have been the benefits for you? What were the benefits for you at the start?
Oh, that's another way of thinking about it. I think for me, the main thing, which is probably not often talked about actually, is self-awareness. So I developed much greater self-awareness around particularly emotions. So as emotions arise, being able to tolerate them, sort of see more clearly what's happening. We generally are going around in sort of autopilot mode. So we're not fully focused on what's happening. And we live in a bit of a story of our lives, the narration of the day, what we need to do, what we need to get, what needs changing, what needs, what's missing, what's broken. We kind of live in that way of thinking. And what meditation helps us do is see a little bit more clearly that there's a lot more than just our thinking. And in fact, a lot of our thinking is driven by our nervous system, a fight and flight type of response. That can help us get through a busy day, but can also mean that we get derailed by difficult emotions, things get thrown in, and we're not really clear on what I was going to say responding to, but usually reacting to. So meditation helps us kind of see everything a little bit more clearly, so that then when we are triggered, we're able to notice that that's a physical thing, and that we can begin to calm the body, and then we can address the thinking and see if, what really needs to be done or what might be helpful. So it can really help develop a more skillful way of working with difficult thoughts and difficult emotions. And I'd say for me, that's certainly been life-changing. And for most of my students, most people come in wanting to feel more calm and more relaxed, but that actually is a result of being more aware, a result of being able to feel the body more.
And tune into how you're feeling. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And so do you find that there's a particular type of person that is attracted to coming in and starting a meditation practice with you?
You'd think there would be, but really no. I've been amazed by the diversity of the groups that I teach. I've had teenagers through to, men in their 80s. It's fascinating, and different genders, different ages, and people at retirement age kind of looking for meaning and joy, through to people just not being able to sleep properly, people who are ratty with their children. And to be honest, this is what they share. There's obviously a lot more. Sometimes I think, and this is, again, it's not always a great sales pitch for meditation, but there's a sense that life could be a little bit more enriching or nourishing. I think sometimes that guides people towards it. It's feeling that there's just a little bit more to life than the to-do list.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. A beautiful way of advertising meditation to people. And so what's a way for people to just start with meditation? Because I hear it the same, especially with the Nidra yoga sleep meditation. People are like, oh, I can't sit still for that long. My mind is always thinking of things. I can't quiet my mind. So what's something people can do just to be able to start?
Well, I think one of a definition that I might use for meditation is that it's a process of relaxing your body and calming your mind. And as I've said already, that incorporates this aspect of being more aware of both body and mind. And as you'll be aware, the body and mind aren't really separate things. They're kind of working together all the time. That is a helpful definition, although meditation can be defined in so many different ways, and many teachers would say something quite different to that. But it's a helpful working definition because it reminds us about the body. And so the simple thing that we could get more used to is noticing when we feel uptight, that uptightness is your body. So that kind of shifting from thinking into the body. What can I relax in my body? And that really could just be a very simple thing that you do on the go. So, checking in with your body every now and again, and particularly when you're under stress, and just inviting the shoulders to drop, inviting the belly to relax, maybe taking a few deeper breaths and just giving yourself, 10 seconds, 20 seconds of that periodically throughout your day is a really easy way to start to learn how to meditate.
That's beautiful. I know at the very start, maybe, gosh, I can't even think how long ago it was, maybe 8 years ago, but I did have like a timer on my phone to just stop and breathe and drop my shoulders. And mine's my jaw. I would always clench my jaw. So relax my jaw and shoulders as well. So definitely that's such a great, now you're just reminding me of when I started what I actually did. So that's a great tip for people to use to get started, isn't it? And just say they've moved on from that and they're doing that already. What would be your next step for them?
Well, I think finding a time of day that you'd like to do a formal meditation can work for some people. And I do want to stress that everyone's a little bit different. And starting small, 5 minutes of sitting. And actually, as I say, sitting, even if you can use movement too. Like if you're very fidgety and you're doing a guided meditation, you want to sway your body a bit. That's fine if it helps you just tune in and be present. So I would find a time of day that suits you. And for many people, that's the morning. In the morning when we first wake up, the brain's operating in a really open way. The brainwave's a bit slower. We're a little bit more receptive and creative. And typically what people and myself included at times, we'll just roll over and check the phone, and it's like a big jolt into waking up, and there's like lists of things to do. And we may find that as soon as we wake up, there's, what do I need to do? So it's sometimes nice just to gift yourself 5 minutes or, 10 minutes if you can do it, 5 minutes. You can sit up in bed or find a space in your home that feels a little bit special, that you can just take that time and just start small. So breathing is probably the most well-known meditation technique, but actually just sitting with yourself for 5 minutes and allowing your body to soften and paying a little more attention to what's happening inside yourself. That could be a great way to sort of go into a more formal practice.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for those 2 tips. I know that you've been sharing a lot about being kinder to ourselves and self-compassion, and you are coming on the retreat, which I'm very excited about, to have you there to share your knowledge with the women who are coming. So what are some ways that we can be kinder to ourselves?
Well, there's a part of many of us that's just a bit harsh on us. And again, this tends to happen when the body's really rattled. So if you're feeling emotional, if you're under a lot of stress or something difficult's happened, you may notice that there's a voice that we sometimes call the inner critic that arises to kind of tell us, basically, if we weren't such a bad person, this wouldn't be happening. And we may find that we're talking to ourselves in ways that we would never dream of talking to somebody that we cared about, or maybe even somebody we didn't care about. So being kind to ourselves, part of it is this, how can I be kind to my body? So a very simple way of doing that might be placing your hands on your heart or just holding the body. And people do this naturally. People do it when they're stressed. They might squeeze the shoulders, squeeze the elbows, or place their hands somewhere. But with self-compassion practice, we're just doing that a little bit more mindfully and purposefully. So placing the hands somewhere is a kind gesture. As you're breathing slowly and softly, again, as a way to sort of settle your system. And really, meditation is a process of self-compassion. But with self-compassion practice, we realize that we're not just aware of these things objectively. There is an experiencer as in ourselves, that is experiencing those horrible thoughts and that horrible feeling. And so we're just kind of offering ourselves this warm touch and soft breath, and maybe even kind words. May I be kind to myself in this moment, and just repeating something that feels kind of soothing and kind when we're going through something difficult. And now I appreciate that these suggestions might seem a little bit frivolous or light, but it's so different from how we just keep going. And we've got this voice that's we're semi-conscious of it. I mean, we may not even be conscious of it. And so in a sense, with mindfulness of becoming more aware of it, that in itself begins to discharge the potency of what the experience that we're having. So it's just being, these concepts of being kind are just ways of bringing this more into the forefront and more as an intention, that I don't want to treat myself like this anymore. I don't need to.
Yeah. I think, though, maybe even, 5 or 6 years ago, it may have sounded like, yeah, that sounds great, but I'm not going to do that. But whereas I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just the people that I'm around, but I feel like even some of the practitioners like psychologists and speech therapists and OTs and those sort of people are also embracing the self-compassion and around the parenting part of it as well. And I don't know, do you think that has changed? Have you seen it being sort of a little bit more widespread and not, or am I just attracting the people who actually like that maybe?
You might be, but I think we are hearing more about it. There's a lot more research going into, the actual tangible benefits of practicing self-compassion. We have lived in a very achievement-focused culture for a long time. So there's been a bit of a fear of, if I'm too nice to myself, am I not going to reach my goals? Or am I going to wallow in self-pity? And there's sometimes a misconception that being self-compassionate is actually pitying oneself. But I think that's changing. I think we realize there's just an actual genuine necessity for it.
Yeah, just the research. I'm sure there's more research around it, how important it is and how much it makes a difference to our inner critic. Beth, thank you so much for all of those tips that you've shared and your knowledge and your stories as well. How can people connect with you or find you? Because you do some online too, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm still running the self-compassion course online. So you can find me at geelongmeditationcentre.com.au. You can find me on Instagram as Geelong Meditation Centre and also on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'll definitely put all those links in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for your time, Beth.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. If you'd like to reduce your stress, improve your mood, and support your immune system, then join me for an introduction to Yin and Nidra Yoga. Over 5 short 10-minute online lessons, you'll start to feel calmer and more rested. Head to simplyhappy.com.au in the resources section and start today.